This is 52 Weeks Live, 52 Weeks of Design. I am calling in from 200 Lex, the New York Design Center, where I have a pop-up shop for about another month, and where I'm hanging out most days so I can say hi to people and give tours. So please come and see me. But right now, I am going live with Jean. I'm looking for, or maybe I should look up Sweeten. Jean Brownhill, who I'm just looking for her here. Okay, I'm just gonna go to Sweeten. So she's just a genius who went and found a problem in doing renovation and just went and fixed it. Like the dream, right? So I've just beeped on her. And here she comes. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
So nice to see you.
It's so nice to see you too.
What everyone does not know who's watching this is that you are 6 feet tall.
I am.
And I love it. It's just like total physical intimidation, like this gorgeous woman who's, you know, a giraffe.
Thank you. Thank you. I do think it's helped in business. I do think it's helped.
I find it helpful. I'm not as tall as you are, but I do find it helpful on a construction site. I like the whole physical intimidation aspect. Anyway.
Although I guess I haven't been on a job site in so long.
I know. You're missing it.
I really do. One of my favorite smells is freshly sanded drywall. Do you know that specific smell? Yeah.
I also like paint, but obviously probably not good for my brain.
Fair.
Hold on. Sorry. Let me move this. I'm in a weird situation. So can you tell everybody your story, because it's pretty crazy in its awesomeness?
Yeah. So my background is in architecture. I went to Cooper Union here in New York City and spent about a decade, working in high-end residential and commercial. And it wasn't until I did my own home renovation, just like so many people.
So it's so informative.
That I really actually understood the process. And I ended up hiring the wrong general contractor, even though I had been in the industry for almost a decade.
Yeah.
And I remember so specifically walking in, it was a wood frame house from the 1890s that I bought in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn.
Oh, nice.
And it was gorgeous. I love that house. I've since sold it. But I walk in to the living room, and we were moving the interior stair. The layout of the living room was really, really, really tight. So we were moving the interior stair, and I walk in, and I'd done enough jobs that I knew what a construction site should look like. I knew like the basics of fundamentals of construction. Anyways, I look at this gaping hole in the ceiling.
Never a good thing.
It's never a good thing. And it just looked so janky. I don't know how to describe it any other way. It looked like it had been cut with like a handsaw.
Are real words that we need to use.
And so I turned to the contractor and I'm like, hey, you moved an interior stair before, right? And he's like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
So in that moment, what did I learn? One, this was going to be a terrible renovation, which it was. Two, that if I made this mistake of hiring the wrong general contractor, other people must be making it. Other homeowners must be making it as well. And three, that this was a terrible way for him to build his business, right? So he took on a project that he knew that he was not qualified in a hope to try to grow both the types of projects that he does. He wanted it to be profitable and to get a good reference. None of those things were going to happen. And so I thought, there's got to be a better way for, these small to medium-sized general contracting firms as well to be able to grow their business, to be profitable and productive.
Were you seduced by the prices he was offering?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I mean that's always a hazard. And also, if they've worked on this space before, you figure, oh, well, they know everything about this space. They are the right people. And that's just simply not the case.
Yeah, that's exactly. And, since then, of course, I've learned so much. I mean, we have a whole team that only vets general contractors. Yeah. I mean, now when I look back, I just made such a classic mistake and
right.
thinking
A rookie
like,
mistake.
yeah. Oh, like I'm in the industry. This will be fine. I'll be able to like give him direction and feedback and like we'll be able to achieve this level of finish with, you know, what I knew was going to be an inferior, you know, team of professionals. So my
so
pain
how did it go
equals
from
a beautiful
being,
outcome in,
how
in
did it go
Sweeten.
from being this, like, at what point did you say, I'm going to address this professionally?
So I had been hired and as a traditional architect, and I worked at a retail company doing store design. We did, you know, 250 stores a year and we were 25 people.
Yeah. Wow.
And I said to my boss, I was like, hey, I think we should build a website to help make us more efficient. I had no idea what that meant, but somehow I had this vision. And I was
what
like,
year is this that we're talking about?
So this is 2004.
Okay.
This is 2004.
Really early.
Pushed my boss. Yeah. It was early. And this was definitely like, you know, if I describe to you the platform that I ultimately ended up building, you'll say, oh, that sounds like, you know, a combination of like Dropbox, this and this and this. And this.
Yeah.
But, you know, this was an intranet-based system that was totally custom that I built, you know, out of my brain. And luckily I was junior enough to ask, and my boss was ambitious enough to, or saw the ambition and said yes. And then I won the chairman's award. The CEO of the company at the time was like, you're just going to do this for us forever because this platform cost us $100,000 to build and it saved us $300,000 the first month it was up. So
wow, that's huge.
Yeah. And so that's what I did. I did that for almost 4 years for them. I just built websites. I got certified in information architecture, and I built websites to make their architecture group and their construction group more efficient. So it's not that I didn't have some idea of like, wow, you know, the power of the internet, the connectivity, like sure. It absolutely can be used for good for design and construction. So that's kind of like what was percolating in my brain as I was renovating.
Did that take you away when you did that for your employer at the time? Did that take you away from architecture? Did that make you sad that you had kind of crossed, like by accident, fallen into a career that was not the one that you were courting?
You know, yes and no. I mean, one, I only worked with the architecture group and construction group. So I still was in the architecture group. I still only like was solving architecture and construction related problems. And I always felt from the very beginning that designing a website is so similar to designing a building, right? Because you're like thinking about like egress and how people will move through the space. And, you know, it's structurally like a building in so many ways. But the thing that I loved about it is that you can develop really quickly. As you know, architecture and construction, it takes so long.
Oh, but it's so important to have correct.
Yeah.
I love you just being like, oh yeah, I can do this. I'm going to build a site.
Yeah, I know. I mean, thank God for naivete.
Was it just that you didn't realize what you were biting off? Didn't you? That keeps coming up in these talks. People being like, yeah, I had no clue. If I'd known, I never would have done it. But all of these great results are coming out of people saying exactly that. Yeah,
I mean, I'm really glad that I did it. I'm so proud of the work that we do at Sweeten. I'm so proud of the fact that we've been able to help, you know, so many people, you know, renovate their homes, renovate their small businesses. Like, I believe it's like, now I do architecture at scale. The only thing that I don't do is design, which is kind of ironic because in architecture school, it's kind of what they focus you on. But no, I'm not, obviously I'm not sad about the decision, and I still love,
you seem to be doing okay.
Yeah. And I love architecture. You know, I've said this before, but I really do think it's, you know, the most impactful, most beautiful art form for the fact that you truly can see the values of our society reflected back at us through the medium of architecture and construction, right? And you don't need to walk into a museum. You don't need an appointment to see it. It is the mirror that is around all of us.
So what is the experience of the end user for Sweeten? How do they, I mean, you know, I gather how they get there, but what is it, they're just sitting there saying, okay, I need to do just this bathroom in my house. Who do I go to? This isn't a big enough job, or blah, blah, blah.
So I'll tell you what usually happens. So someone is, looking at their bathroom in this case and saying, I know that I don't like it. They usually go online and they're looking at pictures. They're on Pinterest. They're on Houzz. They're pinning a bunch of photos of what they want it to look after. And then they literally don't know what to do from there.
Yeah.
And so they come to us oftentimes with just a Pinterest picture and a picture of their existing bathroom. And they say, this is my bathroom. I don't want it to look like this anymore. I want it to look like this. And we really take people, as I've said before, from Pinterest to punch list.
Yeah,
so
that's
you come to the site.
That's a TV show for you.
Yeah. We will walk you through, right, a very simple form where we ask you questions related to your project. And what we're doing is we're trying to understand the scope of your project. Like when you say renovation, sometimes people will say renovation, and what they really mean is a very, very light refresh. They want new paint, new hardware.
Cosmetic.
Totally cosmetic. And that's fine. That's great. We typically don't do those projects because, again, we work with licensed general contractors. And so, those projects are when you're, replacing your vanity, your mirror, you're really like taking the project down.
And you cannot do it yourself. You can't
and you
say,
really,
oh, tonight
I guess
I'm
you
going to build
could,
the
but
vanity.
you really don't want
to. You could, potentially paint the walls,
yes.
But you're not moving the plumbing.
Yeah. Oh, no. No. I mean, you literally
do that.
A licensed, you need a licensed professional for that because you need to get a permit for that. So you come to us and we will help you to figure out what your scope of your project. So you answer a couple of questions and then we will ask you what your budget is. We will give you some ideas of what we see. We've done thousands of renovations at this point, and every single renovation that we do, we are following that project all the way to completion. So we know what it costs. We know the timeline. We pipe that information back into our budget estimator and our budget calculator. So we'll say, okay, great. This bathroom, based on what you've told us you want, is going to be $15,000 or a range between $13,000 and $15,000. Can we move forward at that budget? Or tell us what the budget that you had in mind.
Yeah.
Once we have scope and budget alignment, and only when we have scope and budget alignment, will we then circulate your project to be matched to one of our licensed general contractors. And the reason why we do that is because we spend so much time finding the best general contractors working in all different price points, all different design styles, all different locations. We don't want to waste their time on projects that we know cannot move forward. So you may or may not get a phone call from a Sweeten renovation specialist to help walk you through to get that scope and budget alignment, because really you can just bring down your scope. It's fine. If your budget is 13, just bring down your scope a little bit. No problem. But what we need is a realistic scope and budget alignment. So once
somebody's asking right now, can a designer, like the woman asking, use Sweeten for budgeting or contractor advice?
Yeah, absolutely. Please post your project, Julia. Yeah, for sure. So, and we love designer projects because they look fabulous. Like we love designer projects, and we work with a lot of designers for that very reason. So okay, great. Your project has passed scope and budget alignment. So then we will give you a short list of 3 to 5 general contractors from our curated network that we believe are the best match for your project. You can review their profiles, their past work, reviews. You can see all about them. If you're interested, we will go to that general contractor, make sure he's interested, he or she is interested in your project. And when we have double confirmation is when we will actually share contact
it's
information.
like Tinder.
It's totally Tinder. It's totally like dating. Yes, we need a yes from both sides. And then once we have yes from both sides, then we'll facilitate a site visit. You can do that site visit in person, or if you still aren't comfortable doing in person, which obviously during a global pandemic is understandable. We also can facilitate a virtual site visit. We have technology built right into our platform that you can have a video call just like this with your general contractor. And that can be with him or her in the space, right? So if people have made it so that the firm can go into the space. So the firm is like walking around and you talk to them, or vice versa. You can be in the space walking around and talking to them. You will receive 3 estimates from our general contractors. They will be itemized. They will be the real cost of the renovation that they will sign on the dotted line and work with you for.
Yeah.
Once you award your project, we actually have platform tools that allow you to transact that renovation. So you can have all your communications, milestones, payments on our platform. And yeah, we also offer an additional $50,000 of loss protection on every project that's posted on our site because we're so confident in the firms that we pick. So,
I mean, yeah. I'm going to say that people watching this video are going to lose their minds because it just sounds like such a relief. And to know that somebody like you, who, you know, you're clearly a real person, you know, who knows what you're talking about and knows what the hazards are. The fact that you're at the helm is also just such a huge relief because, you know, sometimes genius ideas come out ahead of total wackadoodles. You know, like somehow the genius of their thinking makes them difficult in other ways. Like you are both artistic, a real person, and you have all these resources. How on earth how did you get all, I mean, how long did it take you to do this?
So, you know, it's really wild to think that we're almost about to celebrate our 10-year anniversary in June.
That is wild.
Yeah, it really is just unbelievable. The fact that we have, you know, been able to be around this long, obviously, is a feat in of itself. Mm-hmm. But what I'm so proud of is just the platform that the team has been able to build, right? Like you said, oh, you know, Jean has had the idea. Sure, I have the idea, but everybody knows that it's in the detail and the execution that really makes something come to life. And so the fact that, you know, I'm
modest too.
Well, no, it's really true. Like I look at the platform that they've built, and even as I say it, right, even as I say to you, oh, right, we can transact the entire renovation. We can, you know, communications and payments and milestones. I just said that to the team that we need to be able to transact the renovation. Like that is what is important. That is the piece of the puzzle that no one has gone after. That is the hard work. Not the matching is incredibly hard, but we figured that out. That part I feel very confident.
So how do you sorry, I'm not even speaking. I'm so excited. I'm like nonverbal. Does the homeowner hire you, or are you subscribed to by the contractor? How does that work? Because people are saying like, wait, what? How?
So we are marketplace. So you are hiring the general contractor. So they are all obviously small business owners. Yeah. They all have like LLCs or corporations or something, and you are hiring them. Now, obviously, we absolutely stay connected to the project and feel very much
proprietary.
We have built a machine that now is, one, we get so much joy out of seeing the afters. If tomorrow I woke up and was like, hey guys, we're not going to track the projects all the way to completion for some reason. Let's just say, I mean, go to our blog, look at the joy that is documented on our blog. All of those happy homeowners, like it is where we find our fulfillment as a company is really seeing the success of the platform at work.
Well, and that's you know, both the greatest trait and the worst downfall of this universe, this kind of business, is that, you know, we all just desperately want to please the homeowner, and which it sounds like you're doing. So you maintain contact throughout the whole job.
Yeah, so we'll follow up. So when your project is awarded, we'll obviously be aware of that because you'll award it on the platform. And we will follow up kind of beginning, middle, and end. We'll, you know, automatically do that through the platform. And then an actual person you can reach out to at any time. So if you want to proactively reach out to us at any time, absolutely do. And there is also, at the very end of the project, an immutable review. And that review directly affects that general contractor's deal flow from us going forward.
Oh, yeah. So it's almost like when the Uber man
exactly.
or woman rates you. So you are, your future success is you're as motivated as can be, because not only do you want to make that person hire you again and make them happy, but your success or failure will be revealed.
Yes. And we've had firms. So every general contractor on our platform gets a dedicated account manager, and they have a monthly strategic business review call with that account manager. On that call, we give them feedback, and we definitely get a lot of feedback from them as well, including them telling us like, I would never have gone back a third time, but it was a Sweeten project and I couldn't bear for her to like mess up my rating.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that leverage is real, and it is part of why the Sweeten platform works so well, because as opposed to, first of all, we've already vetted, we review them, we work constantly with these firms. And so when you are just renovating yourself in the wild with a firm, you may or may not have repeat business for them. Yeah. But when you renovate through Sweeten, they absolutely know that this job is directly going to lead to more jobs within our platform.
So how did you put out the call to the wild to get all of these firms to come and join Sweeten, and to know that they were going to be in good hands?
It's interesting. So, and I love, you're obviously from the industry, that you would ask me that question, because oftentimes, like, I spend a lot of time talking to like venture capitalists and bankers and whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, of course the GCs sign up. And I'm like, well, they've actually been so burned out by lead generation sites that we have to very, very quickly tell them in the first 2 seconds, we're not a lead gen site. We're not a lead gen site. Yes, because those lead gen sites, you're paying for email addresses essentially. And, you're as a small business owner, and probably a lot of designers probably have maybe signed up for some of these as well, but they'll just hit your credit card over and over again, charging you for emails. And that's a really, really frustrating business model. Yeah. So our business model, because we work so hard to find really great firms, we really put skin in the game. We advertise them, we market them, we train them up, and we only get paid when they are actually awarded projects on our platform. So it is a success fee.
And you get paid by them?
We get paid completely by them. And it is a success fee, a small success fee based on the project. So, we really, imagine there are some firms that we've put in front of many, many, many projects before they win a project. Other firms, obviously, are winning. They win straight out of the gate and they keep winning. But for them, it's really a way for them to, level up their sales, level up their online presence. And we invest in them to help them to do that.
It's so fascinating, Jean. It is just so interesting. It also seems kind of perilous, like the beginning of it. Now you have it all running and it sounds amazing, but that would have, I find it, okay. Once upon a time when I would interview people for jobs at my office, what are you going to say? They're on their best behavior. You're on your best behavior. You're all like being, oh my God, I'm a wonderful boss and you're wonderful. Like how, I don't bring my crazy to those interviews and they don't bring their crazy to theirs. And sometimes I used to ask things so stupid because I knew that the whole thing was not, it was authentic, but it wasn't necessarily full of truths to discover. So I'd be like, what's your sign? It's terrible. And my colleagues at work, besides telling me that I was the worst interviewer ever, they pulled me off of interviews. And they're like, we do the interviewing. And only once we have vetted can you. Because I feel like there's this hazard of liking somebody. And they might seem wonderful, but they might not be the right person for the job. The person you might not like could be the perfect person for the job. So how do you navigate that crazy?
So We definitely ask for feedback along the way and encourage homeowners to be looking for firms that fit their working style. So we encourage people to think about, like, okay, did you have a wedding planner? Did you have, like, what is another big ticket stressful thing that you've planned or worked with a professional in the past on? And what was that person like? Was that person like,
and
very
was it
collaborative?
successful?
Yeah. Oh, yes. And was it successful? Was it, obviously, that's one of the questions. And was it successful? And then what was that person like? So, we have firms that are going to be, pretty transactional, like come in, do exactly what you say, leave. It's going to be well documented. It's going to be well done, but they're not going to be collaborative with you. They're not going to be, giving you, design ideas or material selection, right? And so what we've done is basically, again, when you're posting a project, we ask you, okay, well, what are the additional services that you might want? Do you want someone to help you pick? Do you need design help? Do you need material selection help? So we try to understand the level of service that people are looking for so that we can match appropriately. But the personality stuff is always going to be just like on site. Like, how do you guys work well together?
Yeah. Yeah. But,
right.
but
So
you still have to contend with that, which is.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Really interesting.
And we try.
You must be the calmest person to deal with this. I said, you must be the calmest person because I'm just thinking about it. It stresses me out. It does. It sounds really stressful, but so admirable. Like, I love that you're out there because, we get people all the time in my side of this business who, they want to do a room or a small thing. Not so much with people you haven't worked with before, but you have an old client who would love to redo something and maybe their contractor's not available. So I could just call you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
And we really do projects at all different price points. I know that your cost per square foot price is probably maybe a little higher.
I don't know what you mean, Jean.
A little higher than the rest.
Never affordable.
But we have done very, very fancy Upper East Side places as well.
Well, not everything can or should be. It's not about cost. It's about quality.
I will say this. So if you're renovating in New York City, it is also building dependent. So even though we will get folks who want to do a more budget renovation, their building will require like $10 million of insurance. It just like automatically knocks out like a bunch of like lower cost options. So I do agree with you that not everything needs to be done at, $500 a square foot or $1,000 a square foot.
Well, that shouldn't drive the engine. The price of X shouldn't be the goal. It should be the outlook. No, what's the word? Oh my God. I'm so excited.
Well, I'll just say that we really do have, so part of the intake on the general contractor side is that we in fact do, so we figure out, like, not just based on their portfolio and the publicly available information that we've been able to gather on the firm, but we do a 30-minute interview where we actually assess, like, okay, what price point are they building at? What is the cost per square foot that they're building at? What are the supplementary and services that they provide? What are the, special things about this firm that might make it unique? Like, we really do know our firms incredibly well, both from a kind of a structured data way, but also just in a, like.
And I saw you have like 1,000 or 1,500 firms.
Yeah. Well, we're in 10 cities.
Yeah. So which are they?
Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. New York, LA, Chicago, Miami, Atlanta, Nashville, Houston, Dallas, DC, Boston. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's 10. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. What, I'm sure you've thrown people off the Sweeten, disaffiliated yourself. What gets people kicked off?
Bad reviews from homeowners.
I mean, obviously, but like, what's a threshold? Like,
so three projects with 3 stars.
Interesting. And I'm taking it's 5 is the top.
5 is the max. Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
and we give warnings, and we work with firms, again, because we do give this like post-award support, it's called internally. And so we track all the firms, and if they have issues, we have severity levels of issues. Like some of it is just a customer, a client, a homeowner might be confused about process, or it could be like, like real issues. And so we track all that internally so that we understand. We collect so much data about our firms, and we really try to utilize that to the benefit of our clients, right? So that, a firm that has projects with issues doesn't get additional matches. Obviously, a firm with three projects with 3 stars just gets kicked off completely. And then we've had some other folks that, when we onboard people, we tell them that part of what you're signing up for is to work transparently. Yeah. And sometimes firms don't really understand what that means until they start working with us, and it's just not the right fit for them. It's like self-selecting.
Yeah, and that's lovely, because I mean, the onus of it all is not on you to chop them off.
Oh no. And that is like the beauty, right? That is the beauty of having an online platform. I mean, everybody talks about like data, and like what all the data can do, but it really, when used properly, it really can produce much better results, right? So like on these other sites, if you think about, I won't name them because that's not nice, but anyway, any of these other sites where you can like see a general contractor's profile page, right? That's the information that they have and they want to present to the world. We have every single interaction.
Oh, really? I've lost your volume. Is somebody calling you? Somebody called you?
No, I have a self timer on Instagram so that I don't spend more than 15 minutes a day.
Sorry. Oh, God, you're amazing in so many ways.
So sorry about that. So I was just saying that we have every single interaction, right? So we have like their response times. We have everything. So we have like full visibility into our general contractor's performance, and the vast majority of them. Oh yeah, I'm there.
Is it a Sweeten email that the clients communicate through?
No, so you can we have a messaging portal in the platform, and we can see your interactions with your GC. We're not reading those messages necessarily, but what we're looking for is response times to make sure.
But they're not getting the contractor's cell phone and texting him. They're using your portal exclusively.
They absolutely can.
Okay, so it's up to them.
The general contractor directly if they want, but they can also.
And I was just sexist. I just said him. I meant her.
We do. We have a program called SAW, Sweeten Accelerates Women, and we are super excited to get more women to be general contractors. So any women who are watching this that are in interior design or architecture, please consider being a general contractor. My guess is you're probably already doing a lot of the work that the GC is doing, and you can just get compensated for it as well.
Wow. So Renee, how do you charge in your service? The contractors are signing up. That's how Sweeten gets paid. But it's clean, because if they don't follow through, they're dropped. What happens? I don't know why I'm asking you this negative question, but you're going to have an answer, I'm sure. What happens if you've onboarded somebody and they are hired and they're terrible? They're a 1. Where do you go from there? Or at what point do you say we need to match you, or this needs to stop, or do you have any?
Yeah, so we do get feedback on every interaction. So we really do try to follow up to understand like in the site visit, like professionalism, like how did they perform on the site visit. So when we've made a mistake, and we're very good but not perfect, just like every single other person, we can see it early. We can see it in site visit. We can see it in those early communications, and we can jump in then. So, ideally, we can pull them out very, very, very quickly based on their performance at the site visit stage before they get to estimate, before they start getting awarded projects.
So here's that question in the reverse. you've put one of your awesome contractors together with a person who you don't know, who's using your service, and you find out that they're batshit crazy.
Yeah.
How do you protect your GCs?
So oftentimes when I tell people that we have post-award support, they think that it must be for the homeowner to deal with the general contractor.
Yeah.
50%, it's like about half and half. It is the GC calling us in to help us with the homeowner, not the homeowner calling us to help the GC.
And
so
how do you help them?
By setting expectations, by helping set communication protocols and expectations.
So that's another huge, amazing thing.
Most of the time that we find when projects start to go sideways, it's because of a breakdown in communication. It hasn't been, the expectations haven't been clearly communicated, and then, communication protocols haven't been clearly set. So we definitely encourage people in the beginning at contract stage to set a very clear cadence of communication expectations. So whether that's weekly site visits, weekly emails, daily texts, like whatever it is that you want.
Yeah.
But say it up front and be very clear about that.
Well, it's interesting having an intermediary baked in, especially if I assume the people you hire, well, I don't know if this is true, but I would think that they would be like you because you've trained them or you chose them for the job, and you have a very soothing, like knowledgeable, authoritative way about you. And if I were spinning out of control and the contractor was hating me and you came in and spoke to both of us, I would actually think that'd be wonderful. Just having identified this intermediary who we could like let it all hang out with, and they could, like help me. And then you come in and help.
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that. I definitely, in the beginning, I probably would spin with each side, but over, now I'm doing this almost a decade. We definitely internally, we call it the path to completion.
Yeah.
And we just talk about getting both sides back on the path to completion, because ultimately both people want the project to come to an end.
And it's a dispassionate description, which is great.
Yes. And I think, listen, it is incredibly stressful. Like renovations are stressful, full stop. And for a homeowner, it is so incredibly expensive. And it's usually motivated by a life event, right? So you've just gotten married, you're having a baby, you're upsizing, you're downsizing. Like there's other things going on in your life that have motivated this renovation. Like we totally both sympathize and empathize with our homeowners and how stressful it is.
Yeah.
We also, having, worked with these general contractors for some of them for almost a decade, we also know them really well, know their intentions, know their capabilities, know their motivations, know our track record with them, and can empathize and sympathize with them when they feel like they've been, misunderstood in some way. And the thing is so often, like I said, it's just a miscommunication. It's a misunderstanding of expectations. And as much as we can help to set that, we do it. We also do it on our blog, right? That's why we share our best practices on the blog. I mean, we've got I don't even know how many articles on our blog now, but every time we hear a homeowner ask the same question 2 or 3 times, we
identify it as
find the answer. Yeah, and write a blog post about it, because we're constantly trying to help. We have this saying, actually, Randy McCall came up with this saying when she was at Sweeten, renovate fearlessly. We want people to be able to renovate fearlessly. And so much of that is education and clear expectations of what's going to happen.
And that omnipresent worry that you're doing it all wrong, which obviously if you have somebody helping guiding you, you don't feel so much. What is the biggest, what's the largest scope of match you have made? Whole house?
We helped someone find, we connected someone to a general contractor that built 5 stories on a existing building. It was a $5 million project. That was our biggest.
Yeah, that's That's big.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's the smallest? Is there any threshold that you won't, that needs to be met?
So typically, and again, depending upon geographies, it can vary, but between, ten and $15,000 for a bathroom renovation, we work with licensed general contractors. And so that means you're hiring someone to organize other trades. So it's a renovation that's going to have an electrician and a plumber and tile guy. And so that just has a certain price point, and it's usually around 10 to 15.
Yeah. I'm redoing my bedroom in my mother's house in Southampton. No, not my bedroom, my bathroom. And yeah, what a game changer. I mean, I know that I should not be surprised by that, given that that's what I do for a living. But if anything, as we all know, the pandemic has made us value our living spaces and their functionality so much more.
Yeah.
And if I need to be stuck in Long Island for a year again, I would like a deeper bathtub, instead of the wading pool that I've been in. Do you think, how did the pandemic work out for you? Was it even, I mean, I don't like saying any silver linings about the pandemic because lives were lost. There's no such thing as a silver lining on death. But I have noticed that many trades in the design business have been going gangbusters.
Yeah. I mean, certainly March and April were very challenging for us. We are an online platform, but we facilitate an offline transaction. And so when stay-at-home orders went into place or shelter in place went into effect, we had thousands of construction projects come to a grinding halt. I mean, it was just... I never have, and hopefully never will experience anything like that again. Yeah. But by the summer, we started seeing people really interested in renovating. And since then, we've had, a lot of really strong demand. We've seen, 100% year-over-year growth in January. It's been kind of amazing. And to see people reimagine their spaces, right? Mm-hmm. So people are looking at, garages and turning them into home offices. People are looking at attics that, houses they lived in for 10 years. They're like, oh my gosh, that attic could be so much more. We're going to have a playroom up there. We're going to have another bathroom, like a spa bathroom. There's, like you said,
going to have a locked door. Family away.
The Zoom room. We're doing Zoom rooms. We're doing ADUs. We're doing basement renovations. And it's kind of nice to see people looking at really underutilized spaces and imagining what's possible. So that, and of course, no one's going to be mad at 100% year-over-year growth.
Yeah, absolutely. So wait, somebody's saying, so what is your service? Floor plans and finding a contractor? No, it is matching you with a contractor, full stop. Making sure that you are working with somebody near you who can meet your needs and meet your budget. Yeah,
exactly. If you need design services,
a huge vet.
Yes, exactly. And if you need design services, we do have general contractors that can do design build. We have folks that have in-house CAD offering. If you need those services, we certainly can provide them by matching you to the right firm. But we always start with the general contractor. Now, obviously, if designers come to us, we can help them too. And we have designers and architects on the platform in the very, very beginning, which is so ironic that we don't have them anymore, given my background. But we just, honestly, at the time, there were folks that were doing that a lot better. And we just felt very, very confident in our ability to manage, to find, recruit, onboard, and manage and work with general contractors. And that has really been our strength.
Yeah. I think knowing, excuse me, I think knowing what things other people can do better than oneself is its own very special talent. Because it takes a lot of honesty with oneself, and it's good to identify.
And it's just, I think we already took on a very big piece saying, because from the very beginning, we will match you to the right firm, the right general contractor, and we will track your project to completion. Like was always the value prop for homeowners, because that's what I wanted when I renovated.
Yeah.
I wanted somebody to like be there till the end with me. And that as a value prop was already big enough for us. I mean, that is a big commitment. And you see so many like startups, especially early on, they're just like, let's boil the ocean. Let's do everything.
Let's boil the ocean.
That's not going to happen. So we stayed in our lane.
So Leanne, no, the client does not pay Sweeten, the contractor does. So this is like a limitless, wonderful thing, wonderful resource. How do you live?
How do I live? I live in a rental. I'm not renovating.
How long has that been the case?
You know, being an entrepreneur, I would love to think it possible. And maybe for some folks, it is possible for them to renovate and to run a business. I have not found that to be true. So I've just moved in. So this has been since I sold the house. So 2013, 14.
I did do a renovation preceding a life event. I was pregnant with my third child, and my poor contractor, is all I can say. Because like crazy pregnant lady, and that, you know, the anxiety of that. And then, yes, I was working full time. And then, yeah, it's such a charged circumstance.
When we used to be able to do in-person events, we held this thing that we called the Sweeties, which was an award ceremony for our general contractors. And it was awesome, like such a fun night. Yeah. We'd have a band and a comedian and mentalist. It was like a whole thing. And like we really, you know, I often say that like one of our really competitive advantages is that we respect and appreciate our general contractors as the small business owners that they are. And like, shocker. Anyway, so at that award show, one of our general contractors got an award for like, I think we call it the Hero Award. He had 4 or 5 pregnant women from Sweeten clients at the same time.
Oh my God, that's not an award. Somebody should put the man out of his misery, or the woman out of her misery.
Yeah, it was a man. He is a very nice Greek man who was very patient. And he got
high props from all 5 of them, presumably, because
he did. Wow. Yeah, he that I wouldn't recommend working with 4. I can't remember if it was 4 or 5. I know that it was more than 3. I know that we were just like, how did that happen? But again, most people are renovating.
He had an aphrodisiac quality about him. So here you grew up thinking you're going to do one thing, and you're adjacent to it, but you had this great idea and went for it. Like, what effect has that interesting zigzaggy path? What effect has it had on you? Because it's very impressive, and I would assume it was super scary.
Yes, I mean, certainly there's been challenges, like, of course. I mean,
and you're a woman.
Yeah, woman of color, trying to raise venture capital for a construction company. Definitely, I picked my bad. I picked a very steep hill. But I've always been more motivated by my own curiosity than my fear, or at least I've tried to just follow my curiosity, and it has paid off. You know, I'm just a person that happens to be interested in, you know, many different things, and this is where it led me. So, I mean, the way that I got here, like, just
it's circuitous and interesting.
Yeah.
So being a woman of color in business, running this business, what has this past year been like for you?
You know,
and does it come up with your contractors and your clients, like, you know, it's been a charged time.
Yeah. Yeah. It has come up in ways that I just wouldn't have even imagined, honestly.
I know, I'm sorry. I hit you with a really serious question.
No, well,
like,
it's okay. I mean, it has come up in every way. It has come up when, you know, soon after the murder of George Floyd, I just like broke down. I started crying in front of my whole team.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know what to do. I literally just didn't know what to do. And I usually try to present a very professional and, you know, steadfast
and you're
leadership.
Also a community builder. You're building these communities of these businesses pulling together.
And it was really tough. And I'm so proud of the team for that time, for the way that they, you know, I certainly didn't think that they would show up poorly, but nor did I know how they would show up. And they were just incredible. And, you know, to be able to maintain, to maintain the community within our company, having gone through, you know, we had to do severe cost-cutting measures in March and April because you can't have a business have like a massive impact like that without it. Then to have the summer, there were some really, really challenging moments. And then the ways in which it showed up in other places, I mean, just little things like, you know, our wonderful social media manager having to deal with, you know, really nasty Instagram comments regarding like all lives matter and Black Lives Matter. Yeah, just like stuff that I just would never have, you know, I guess.
Yeah, you would not imagine you would be a target for trolling.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, we have done, it is from the beginning, diversity has been so important to me for all of the reasons. And I was very intentional about building a company that had diversity, that building a network of general contractors that had diversity. And so it really has been very galvanizing for us in our commitment to making sure that we have a diversity in our team, diversity in our general contractor base, and diversity in the families that we renovate and that we showcase on our blog. We believe that whatever you say is family is family. And so we want to make those visions come to life. And so from a lifestyle perspective, from who you love, from how you live, we want to represent all of that. And we started this idea of like the diversity of home, meaning just that we want to showcase all these great, wonderful renovations.
And the home as we know it is changing so radically. As a leader in your office and as a leader in this industry, I mean, you have galvanized the industry in which you find yourself. Staying at home, trying to remain in contact with each other, like what, as a leader, as a business leader, were you doing to keep your team together and whole and not like freaking out? And I would assume there's just like huge stress levels everywhere.
Yes. I mean, I don't think anyone who led through this pandemic, I don't think there'll be another thing to test our leadership. I mean, maybe life is
knock on wood.
We'll see. But that amount of uncertainty in the macro environment was unheard of. And so people were worried for their own physical safety. They were worried for their family's safety. They were worried about, you know, our company's success. They were worried, like really like big issues. And every single person in the company was worried about them. And so what I did was, one, I was incredibly transparent about what was going on with our company. You know, I've always been transparent, but I really, you know, started to share much more details with the company or the overall company than I had before. And I over communicated. So we had a weekly all stand meeting. We changed that to, we have now 2 meetings per week let her all stand. And I really worked on over communicating where we were, what was happening, what were our options, over communicating like on safety protocols and why I was making certain decisions, why I decided to keep us remote. You know, we gave up our office, which was really painful. We had put a ton of investment into that office. And it was just so clear to me that the safety protocols to keep everyone, you know.
Yeah, nothing could be more important than that.
Everything was about keeping our staff and our general contractors and our homeowners safe. And so that's why we integrated that third-party video conferencing solution. That's why we're actively working on integrating contracts signed and any point where folks might have been having face-to-face interactions that didn't need to be happening, we've really tried to identify and then put it right into the product. So,
which then raises the question of, do you see yourself expanding into many more markets? Do you see the facility of expanding into many more markets as a consequence of your learning how to do it offsite?
Yes, for sure.
That's exciting.
For sure. And I mean, my goodness, the processes, the alignment, the accountability, we have never been tighter as a company.
Yeah.
And that is really because we were forced to work remotely, and we didn't realize how many things we were still like, oh, well, it would just happen in like a conversation, or I'd walk over to her desk or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
We've processed, everything now has a process. Everything can be done asynchronously. Everything is clearly documented, and we are all aligned. I mean, obviously, everything. Can we do better? Always. But the vast majority is now documented, and the team is aligned in a way that just we never were before. In fact, we took some of the downtime, so the time when we really saw like dramatic decrease in project posted and in traffic in general, we took that time and we said, you know, great players are made in the off season. This is an off season.
Yeah.
What can we do to fortify our business? What can we do?
But it was also an off season that was about to kick you into high season.
Exactly.
Because all of those, all the people that fled whatever metropolitan area they were in and got these houses immediately needed to get them up and running to support their family.
Yes, Connecticut is doing very well for us. We are in the tri-state area, which we include Fairfield County. So yes, Connecticut is doing really well. Upstate is doing really well. Westchester County, Bergen County, all the counties and the outer boroughs are doing really well. Yeah, no, and it was, you know, and I think that panic, I get it. I get panic. I get worry. I get how some people didn't show up for that moment. But having shown up, watching the team show up, and now seeing the pride with which, you know, they can do their work, knowing that it's just awesome. Like I heard recently, there's two types of pain. They're inescapable. You just have to choose which one you want. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret.
Ooh, that's heavy.
Ooh, right? And I was like, man.
Miles Red has another version of that, which is you're only allowed to cry once. So either get the things you don't want and it doesn't look good, and you know that you cry over that, or you cry over the price and you get what you want and it looks great, but you only cry once.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm using that. That's so good.
Oh, I think you are all right. I think you've got this down. Thank you so much for doing this live. I can't tell you how exciting Sweeten is to me. And that again goes to democratizing the building arts. People, you know, you might not, as I don't, you know, like I don't have the money to go build a gorgeous, you know, whatever in wherever. But I did need to redo that bathroom at my mother's house.
Yeah.
And that is just as important.
Yeah. Well, I think that when I think about, you were asking before about like my kind of like security, why can't I say that word? nonlinear, circuitous, thank you.
Circuitous, yeah.
Circuitous
yeah.
Career path. I think the thing that whatever I do, I want it to be creating like access, right? Specifically in building and construction.
Yeah.
But like I'm so excited that people who didn't think about renovating renovate with us. General contractors whose firms weren't growing, or women who wanted to enter the trade. Like it makes me really happy to be able to.
I think it makes me really happy that you're doing it. And the internet is all about access, but it's about so much access that it can paralyze you.
Yeah.
So these, to have an ambassador like Sweeten is very, very exciting. Thank you so much, Jean, for joining us today. And I can't wait to see you soon and look up at you. Were you a model once upon a time?
Oh my goodness. No. Although I have gotten, people ask me often if I played basketball. I only played basketball one season. I played on the boys team and got my ass kicked.
I was not thinking of basketball. I was thinking of modeling and high fashion shows. But anyway, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Bye-bye.